So food for thought. If the drug development process is so complex, how are the manufacturers able to get COVID-19 vaccines developed and approved so quickly? So that's got an element of drug development and then also supply chain. So we start with Linda. You could talk about the drug development.
Okay, the drug development piece, if you remember when Rose showed her overview, there were different phases in drug development. And phase one, you look for safety primarily, and it's in healthy volunteers. Once you see that it's safe, you would go to phase two. Phase two, you would be looking at your actual disease that you want to treat, and you would do a dose ranging study. You would have more patients and you'd pick your optimal dose, looking at safety and efficacy. After that, you would go into your phase three, which are huge studies, and they can be tens of thousands of patients. So what they did with the vaccine development is, instead of being sequential, they did these things in parallel. So they saved a lot of time. They didn't have to go through each stage gate to get to the next development phase. So that shaved off a lot of drug development time. And Jose, I think you can speak to the manufacturing piece, how they sped that up.
Yeah, well, manufacturing, they basically identified in what area of the development phase was of best decision to start the process of manufacturing at risk. So once they had enough data, they expedited materials. Projects were done in the in different areas of manufacturing to be able to execute quickly. And then in the distribution side, it was basically a deployment strategy where the product was in the warehouse front facing, waiting, and with strict instructions and specific plans on how to get those to the distributors or the wholesalers. And then at the front end, at that also, each state needs licenses. So once you get that approval for emergency use, you can execute and take the product to the end distribution center.
Yeah.
And
So they started out, they planned for success. So they started the manufacturing process and developing it well before they knew if they had a successful product or not. That helped a lot of, provided a lot of time savings.
Yeah, so
And one
essentially they took like a financial risk, right?
Big risk.
Is what you were saying. Like, it could have been that they made this product and then they'd have to throw it away.
Right.
If the trials didn't go well. But they said, we can't do these things sequentially. We have a pandemic here. So they did a lot of things in parallel. Again, being very optimistic that all the test results would go well.
Yeah, and the other thing in the manufacturing sites with the pandemic, they also had to put measures in place to keep the people there safe. Plexiglass, PPEs, all of these things reduced risk. They had to reduce like the amount of people that could be in one facility at a certain time. And then so people had to work, for example, a crew worked from Wednesday to Sunday, another one came in Monday to or Thursday to Sunday, Sunday to Wednesday. And it was also a lot of careful planning because, imagine this, you have an SME that's there, very well trained, and you can only have them there half the time, right? So all of that had to be well thought out. The warehouse, the vendors, they were closed down because they couldn't operate because they didn't have the measures in place. So there were a lot of challenges, inclusive. There was, and this is one of the sites that were doing conversion, external site, caught on fire. So where is the duplicity in the supply chain to make up for that? Where can we have, like equipment and say, let's just go there and qualify it and run product. So those were some of the challenges that we had.
Right.